Russia's President Putin is facing a national election that will test the public support for his leadership, with the Ukraine conflict in particular focus. That issue is of such importance that when Vladimir Putin presented the reasons for the military operation in a recent interview with American journalist Tucker Carlson, the video racked up over 200 million views.
Up until now, there has been the uproar and screaming about inflicting a strategic defeat on Russia on the battlefield. Now they are apparently coming to realize that it is difficult to achieve, if possible at all. In my opinion, it is impossible by definition. It is never going to happen. The BRICS countries accounted for only 16% in 1992, but now their share is greater than that of the G7. It has nothing to do with the events in Ukraine. This is due to the trends of global development and world economy that I mentioned just now, and this is inevitable. This will keep happening. It is like the rise of the sun. You cannot prevent the sun from rising. You have to adapt to it. How do the United States adapt? With the help of force, sanctions, pressure, bombings, and use of armed forces. In the war of propaganda, it is very difficult to defeat the United States because the United States controls all the world's media and many European media.
Russia has remained defiant against Western pressure amid the conflict as it strengthened its ties with China, India, and other nations of the developing global south.
We appreciated the fact that our trade is at an all-time high. We have crossed $50 billion turnover last year. We expect to exceed that this year. And what is important is that this trade is more balanced, it is sustainable, and it provides for fair market access.
That is despite Western powers seeking to isolate Russia as much as possible after the start of the military operation. Those attempts by the West have ended in failure. Current Russian president's prowess as a leader through this challenging period will be put up to public scrutiny in the presidential election, as he faces off against top candidates from the enduringly popular Communist Party, the nationalist LDPR, and the upstart New People movement. Leonid Slutsky serves as both Duma statesman and the leader of the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, which is one of the largest parties in Russia. In his program, Slutsky pays special attention to the importance of the role of many regions in the development of the country, pointing out that Russia will thrive if its regions thrive. He promises to ensure fair living conditions and equal guarantees for all citizens.
Russia is strong with its regions, and they must become stronger. And people should be proud of the fact that they live in a unique country, which today is the center of attraction for those countries and peoples who are against a unipolar world order, where decisions will be made only in Washington on the basis of some rules rather than norms and laws.
Now to Nikolai Kharitonov, who is representing the Communist Party. In the 2004 presidential elections, he came in second behind Vladimir Putin. His party's goal is to build a Russia based on the ideas of renewed socialism or socialism of the 21st century. But what did he exactly suggest in his campaign?
In our program, we clearly stated, we have played with capitalism, and that's enough. Our program answers all the questions. Many people received free apartments from the state then. Why was it possible then? And why is it impossible now?
Vladislav Davankov, the youngest and final candidate on the list from the so-named New People Party, which presents itself as a liberal one. Last year, he ran for mayor of Moscow, where he finished in 4th place. As part of his current election campaign, Davankov promises to focus predominantly on the future.
I have a clear program of action which will guide the country into the future and provide the groundwork for development for decades. I offer Russia this alternative: peace and negotiation, but on our terms, not a rollback, more funds to cities and regions, freedom of speech and opinion, openness and pragmatism, instead of looking for new enemies.
But still, it appears that according to pre-election polls, Vladimir Putin remains firmly in control of the Russian political arena. A recent survey said that 75% of electorally active Russians intended to vote for Vladimir Putin. Another popular polling agency said it would be rather difficult to compete against the long-time incumbent, with only 7% of respondents disapproving President Putin's activities, while as much as 80% approve. His popularity extends beyond Russia, too. According to a survey on the social network X, as compared with other global leaders, Vladimir Putin is the top pick. The Russian president garnered 35.6% of the over 800,000 votes cast from across the world. With this presidential election coming up at the height of international tensions, it will definitely be a vital one for Russian voters.